I knew how to quit you.
This seems so weird.
There's no place like home.
I'm gonna make him an offer down with you.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Gone with the Wind. Got a fun show for you today. We're talking about our predictions for best supporting actor and actress, and a lot of other fun stuff. But we've got Dan here. Dan, how's it going?
It's going good. I had a busy weekend watching stuff, so I have a lot to talk about when we get a chance to talk.
And we've also got Luis here. Luis, how's it going?
Going pretty okay. I think with it, now that we're entering October, we're getting really, really close to finally getting our eyes on some of these festival films.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race going up, especially with some of these news that have come out recently. But Dan, what have you watched in the past week?
Well, I'm going to start off with a little movie called Avenue of Giants, which I watched over the weekend. It's a movie starring Stephen Lang and Elsie Fisher. And Stephen Lang is a survivor of Auschwitz, and Elsie Fisher is a young girl who is documenting his story, and she is in a recovery facility. And so she's got her own backstory. And obviously, Stephen Lang's got his own backstory as being a Czechoslovakian Jew who's surviving Auschwitz. Very good little movie. It's a two-hander with them too. But if you like movies involving World War II and concentration camp and Jews and stuff like that, I think you'll really like it. But also the Elsie Fisher story is really good in it as well. Also, I got to finish up. I did get all the episodes for Goosebumps, which I'm under embargo for. It's a series based off the popular R.L. Stine book series, children's or tween book series. But it was really, really, really good. I may have gotten 8 of the 9 episodes, so I'm not sure if there's one more episode or not, or if they were giving me a hint of what could happen possibly in the next season of Goosebumps. But it was very good. If you're a fan of the Goosebumps books and you remember some of the different sinister, creepy, nasty things that pop up in those books, there's a lot of different things from episode to episode. It's really actually a decent, and it's got Justin Long in it, and he's been kind of having an upswing in his career of late. So if you're interested in Goosebumps, that should be dropping on Disney Plus pretty soon, within the next couple of weeks, I think.
I think it's Friday the 13th, I believe.
Is it Friday the 13th? Okay. And then I got the latest miniseries from Mike Flanagan I watched over the weekend called Fall of the House of Usher. Now, this has got an all-star cast of people in it, namely Bruce Greenwood and Carl Lumley. They're in it. There's a framing device where they talk about what happens to the family of the Ushers, and there's some interesting stuff that goes on. If you like Mike Flanagan, he did like the Haunting of Bly Manor, the Haunting of Hill House. He did Dr. Sleep. He did another Stephen King one that went to Netflix. I forget what it's called, but it's also got Carla Cugino. She plays a major part in the miniseries, and she was in that.
Is it
movie.
Gerald's Game that you're thinking of?
Gerald's Game. Yep, Gerald's Game. He did. So he's really a popular horror guy, but he's been doing a lot lately with Netflix, and he's been doing these shows. And Fall of the House of Usher is another 8 episodes show that he did with horror elements, and it's based off of the works of Edgar Allan Poe. So if you're familiar with those, you'll know that. Also, I already talked about Fair Play and Reptile and all those and Creator last week, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so I got the big one tomorrow. I won't be able to talk about it until next week, but I got The Exorcist Believer tomorrow. Oh, and I did watch all the shorts, including the 45-minute short, The Wonderful Life of Henry Sugar, and all the other 3 shorts that go together. They all fit together as an anthology of Roald Dahl and Liam, not Liam, but Ralph Fiennes plays Roald Dahl narrating the story, and then he's got about in the shorts and in the bigger short, all the same actors play all the characters in the shorts, like Ben Kingsley, Benedict Cumberbatch, Dev Patel. This one guy, I know who he is. I just can't think of his name right now. But pretty much the same actors play all the characters and all the different. Like in Ratcatcher, Ralph Fiennes plays Ratcatcher. He's pretty funny. He's pretty funny in that. And then Henry Sugar is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. And then a couple doctors, various different doctors and people like that, lawyers and stuff, are played by Dev Patel and Ben Kingsley. So I got to see all those. I mean, I still like Asteroid City better, but they're interesting. I mean, I just think that there's just like there's a mundanity to the way that the characters speak, like a monotonous way they speak. And I'm just kind of getting sick of like that monotonous way that Wes Anderson characters speak in his movies, But yeah, I saw all those. And so, yeah, that's basically what I saw. It was kind of a slow week for me.
If they didn't get the pop sensation Usher in The Fall of the House of Usher, then they completely missed the boat there.
No, he's not in it. He's not in it, unfortunately.
Well, they should have. Anyway, Luis, what did you watch in the past week?
Well, continuing my binging of some classic horror films, I caught Werewolf of London, a 1935 film that a lot of people aren't aware of. Also, She-Wolf of London, which a lot of people have beef with that movie because it does a really ballsy twist at the end. I actually really like that they were willing to do that twist. So that movie came out, I want to say 1946. So if anyone might be interested to check out some lesser known Universal horror classics, I might tell them to check that out. I believe you might be able to watch those on Peacock, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I actually watched Werewolf of London on Peacock this week. I forgot all about that. It was good one.
Oh yeah, because I know Peacock's got a good amount of the classic Universal monsters on there. Also, I went ahead and binged a lot of the Saw films in preparation for Saw X, and I did like Saw X, which is a big deal coming from me because I'm not a big fan of the Saw franchise. Other than the first film, I'm not really a fan of the movies. But this one, they kind of made Kramer's character an anti-hero, and I think it gave the movie some more of an exploration to his character instead of just us constantly seeing flashbacks of his. Because I mean, spoiler alert, but in the series, he kind of dies off early, and the series is mostly flashbacks when it refers to him. But this time, because this is supposed to be set between part 1 and part 2, we get to focus on Kramer's character. Tobin Bell plays him greatly, and we get to see him as more of a vigilante anti-hero in this. I still got some issues with the gore aspects, as I always do with this franchise, but I would say that this was the first time since the first one that I actually came away liking the movie. I also did catch the Wes Anderson shorts as well. I like them a lot. They are told very much in sort of like you're getting narrative throughout all of it. It's not necessarily a straightforward narrative that you're watching. I think what Anderson's becoming more and more like is that it's almost like he's trying to show you what it'd be like to watch a stage play, except you're watching it through film, which creates these great production design elements, and they're pretty movies to look at. But I can see where you're coming from then in terms of the way his characters talk. It's starting to get to a point where it's almost like they all sort of talk the same. So I can see why he's not for everybody, especially as it seems like with each movie he gets more and more into his own style, and it's getting to the point where maybe he's not really getting willing to experiment compared to his earlier stuff. Um, but I like the shorts for the most part. My favorite was actually Ratcatcher because it kind of it made me feel like what would happen if Roald Dahl and Wes Anderson, almost like their take on a Stephen King short story. Because I mean, it's not necessarily a scary short, but the way that things play out and the way the Ratcatcher character is, it did kind of in some ways remind me of like reading one of the old Stephen King short stories about these bizarre people that characters bump into. Um, and what else did I trying to get? Oh, I did see The Creator, and I liked it. I didn't think it was as great as some of the passionate fans seem to think it is, but I did like it. I am curious if this is a movie that, as the years pass by, because of the passionate following it has, if it could become kind of this cult classic. I would be very interested to see if that happens to it as the years go by. And I will say that the VFX on it were great. It would be interesting to see if we get an Oscar nomination for that at least. And I also currently today went on a binge of the Pet Cemetery movies in preparation for the prequel, which I know some people have gotten to check it out. I haven't gotten to check out yet myself. The original 1989 Pet Cemetery, I like it. I'm not as wild about the sequel or the 2019 film, even though I do respect the fact the 2019 film tried to do some new things there. It didn't just stick to whatever the book and the original movie did. And yeah, I think that's what I can think of right now of what I've seen over the last week.
And one thing I forgot to mention, Malcolm, I can't believe I forgot to mention it, but I did get to see the first 4 episodes of Loki, and the embargo lifts tonight, so I can't get too spoilery on my Loki. But I'll tell you right now, it's better than season 1, and it really goes to some crazy places, and you get a lot of Victor Timely, and there's a massive cliffhanger at the end of episode 4, which is weird, So I don't know what's going to come after that, but they leave it off as a major cliffhanger, episode 4, and that's what they gave me, 4 episodes. But I'll tell you, one of the things about Loki I love, Malcolm, is the banter and the back and forth between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. Their relationship is kind of almost what makes the show entertaining to me and interesting to me, But stay tuned. I think episode 1 drops this week on Thursday for Loki.
Well, let me ask you about that, Dan. Like, I know that you're under embargo, but like, they've actually sent me the screeners for that too, but I just haven't gotten to check it out. I try to take a break when it comes to MCU shows, but the MCU shows of late have not been getting the greatest reception. Do you think this one might be finally, they'll get a break here and they'll get better reviews?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think this show, I've only seen 4 episodes of it, and it is fantastic. It's one of the best ones. It might be my favorite so far of all the MCU films. And I tend to like them more than others. Like, I like She-Hulk a little bit more than others. I didn't like Moon Knight as much, but I loved Loki. But I think Loki season 2 so far, after 4 episodes, has outdone Loki.
I mean, I really love Loki, so there has to be super fantastic for me to agree with you there. And there's probably a reason that they don't give 4 episodes. They don't want to run the risk of people getting the screeners and spoiling them. Not that I'm saying you are one of those people, but
nope, I won't do it. I don't spoil anything.
Yeah. But anyway, for me, I watched a whole bunch of Robert Rodriguez movies last week because I had Rankin, so I finally got around to watching the Mexico trilogy. I thought Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico were really good. I didn't really care so much for El Mariachi. It was decent, but it was the worst of the 3 for me. I think Desperado is the best one, but I also watched the new Spy Kids movie, Spy Kids Armageddon. I quite enjoyed it. Like, I'm being a big fan of the Spy Kids franchise. Like, and I'm a defender of 3. I think 3 is not as bad as people make it out to be. But I think Spy Kids Armageddon was actually a return to form for Robert Rodriguez. But I also went to a big premiere on Sunday, and it's for the movie Upward, the one that I was an extra in that I was talking about, and it's just such a really good movie. It's one of those ones like it's kind of hard to explain because if you are familiar with the 81 Springbok tour in New Zealand, because that was around the time of the whole apartheid thing and Nelson Mandela, all that. So there was a big protests and stuff. And it's one of those ones like I thought the movie was going to be primarily based on that protest, but it really isn't. Like the protest is it gets tackled in every now and then, but the main story is actually about this kid, Julian Dennison, and it's quite often it's actually a coming of age story about him finding his place in this world and finding out where he belongs and all that. And it's just a really good movie. And I said in my review, if it gets the necessary American releases that it needs to be eligible for the Oscars, I think Julian Dennison is good enough to get nominated for Best Actor. Like he's that good in the movie. And even like Minnie Driver and Rhys Darby are really great supporting roles as well. And I think both of them are just as good as and could shake things up when it comes to supporting roles. But as far as I know, I don't think it's got those the releases it needs. I think if New Zealand push it as the international film, then I think that might be the only way that it would have a shot. But it's one of those ones like when it comes to national film, I don't really know if it needs to be like in a foreign language because Upwards is primarily English language. So I don't know if it's eligible for international feature anymore. So I don't know because I mean with the one I was talking about that came out last year, Muru, that one is primarily in Maori. So it's one of these interesting things when it comes to international film. I wish international film like didn't just have to be for like other language ones, but who knows? But if Upward shows up, I recommend you'll go see it. It definitely does a good job of highlighting this time in New Zealand's history that because a lot of people sort of when people think of New Zealand, it's like, oh yeah, it's a nice peaceful place. Like it really hasn't always been that way, especially with this time in history. But yeah, that's and I will say watching a movie in an actual screening as opposed to just going to a theater is really different, such a different vibe because like in this one like it got a standing ovation at the end from the people. I didn't time it, see how long it went. It was at least 5 minutes or so, but and there was a bit, and it did actually have a question and answer thing with the co-writer, and Julian Dennison was there as well. So they talked a bit about it as well. So yeah, but there was that. But we're going to move over to the news, and the Golden Globes, the awards show that is kind of like everyone's stepchild. They don't want to talk about much. They've kind of announced that they're introducing 2 new awards to their broadcast. One of them is the Golden Globe for cinema and box office achievement, and it from what it says in this thing, like eligible nominees will be among the year's highest earning or most seen feature films that also deliver creative excellence. And titles must have grossed at least $150 million during release, and then $100 million of which must have come from domestic box office. And streaming films will be with a big viewership will be considered based on data from recognized industry sources. The Globe said, and 8 films will be eligible for that prize, and they can still compete for other categories like best motion picture, drama, and comedy, as long as they meet those criteria. And then the other one that they are introducing is one that doesn't really affect movies much, but it's press performance and stand-up comedy TV, which is recognizing outstanding work from a comic in a traditional stand-up format, and like specials that airing on broadcast, cable, streaming, or pay-per-view. All that will be considered, and the projects must have a recognized distributor, and individual social media accounts will not be eligible. So, so that's definitely interesting. I'm going first on this one. But yeah, it's the Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award is one that the Oscars. I mean, the Oscars tried this, but not to that effect. It was the just popular thing, but this could be the best way to go about this one to get some of these big ones, because like, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what ones get in, because a lot of movies flop this year as it is. But yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one to add. I don't know if it's overly necessary, but I think it's the one that for sure Barbie and Oppenheimer are probably going to be nominated regardless, because they're probably the 2 highest earning movies of the year. But yeah, I'm not a big stand-up guy, but I mean, it's good that they're introducing an award that sort of goes through that area, because especially nowadays, there's a lot of stand-up specials popping up on Netflix alone. So, but it's just one of those ones, because they are specials, they're not seen as like a TV show. So it's like, they just tend to get ignored because they don't fit into either movie or TV show. So it's an interesting one, Brad, but I think it's good that they're getting some recognition. And yeah, Luis, what are your thoughts on the Best Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award and the Best Stand-Up in Television?
Well, the stand-up one makes sense to me because the Globes do try to pull a Critics' Choice, and they try to tackle movies and TV at the same time. So that makes complete sense to me. I think it's a good choice, especially with how. I mean, look, I'm not a stand-up guy myself, but obviously there's a market for it. You see it all over these streaming services and such. So there's obviously a market for that, and I think it's a good idea. Given if they are going to go ahead and also cover TV and TV specials and such. The cinematic box office one, I think, is a gimmick that I honestly don't think they do not need to do, because remember, the Globes does something that no one else does, and that's that they will straight up divide their Best Picture wins into 2 categories: drama and comedy or musical, which gives them the opportunity, especially in that comedy or musical a category, to put mainstream films, populist films. And on top of that, because they do have those 2 categories, if they wanted to open it up so that there's more mainstream films in there, all they had to do was maybe like expand from 5 to 8 or even 5 to 10 in both of those categories. Now you get even more chances for movies to show up. So they could have done all that without even adding this cinematic and box office achievement category. On top of that, think about this. Last year, we had one of the more populous Best Picture slates. I mean, we had the top 2 grossing films worldwide in Avatar and Top Gun involved there. You had Everything Everywhere, which, it wasn't like a $1 billion maker, but it was a big indie box office hit that left a bit of a cultural mark, especially with the young people. So you have these and then this year, Barbie and Oppenheimer are favored to be part, especially Oppenheimer, but and Barbie as well, are favored to be part of the Best Picture race. Oppenheimer will probably get nominated for Best Movie in a Drama, Barbie comedy or musical. So to me, it just I don't understand the point of doing this because I think what they would have wanted from this, which is I think is an attempt to help their ratings, they could have done even with the two best picture categories they have already anyway. So I think I just think why I understand the what they're probably thinking in terms of getting ratings, in terms of getting normies more in tune. I just don't. I just think they could have gone about it a better way because to me, this box office and cinematic achievement thing just kind of feels like a gimmick, if anything. And all they had to do, and there were other ways that they could have done to get more populist movies involved. And again, this is in a year where Barbenheimer, which was a huge cultural moment this year, is going to show up in the awards race. So it's not like they needed to do this to make sure Barbie was involved. So, you know, the stand up thing is a good idea. I get it. This box office cinematic thing, I think, is just a gimmick.
But Dan, what are your thoughts about the cinematic achievement award and stand up?
Yeah, I actually agree with Lewis here. I think that they're trying to get ratings and they're trying to do something that they think, okay, well, if we put a category where people are going to watch it because one of their favorite movies, if not more than one of their favorite movies, might get nominated. Oh, we'll watch it. We'll watch a show to watch that category. The other one, the stand-up comedian one, I guess they're just trying to show that they respect stand-up comedians and that the streaming service do have stand-up comic routines like Netflix, and then there's other ones that are out there like Comedy Central and HBO and some of these different comedy things that are on these various streaming services. So I understand that, but yeah, I agree with Lewis on a lot of what he said about that stuff. It just seems like they're trying to get ratings. They're trying to come back from being the stepchild of the awards season by doing something they think that they're going to get people to watch their show. That's what the box office award seems like to me.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with you guys on that. It is what it is. I mean, it's just one of those ones. And I mean, I do actually agree with Brian here. Is like, they could have added stunts or best voice performance. I was like, both of those.
Good call, Brian.
Both of those probably you could have added both of those, like, which is a category that people have been yelling into the void for years, and just no one's picking it up. Like, but yeah, I mean, but moving on, into another thing that I actually completely forgot about until I opened up Cold Derby for the main topic. Is like, oh, someone's missing from there. But yeah, then I remembered. It was actually recent. I'm not sure when it was announced, but I remember someone saying it was announced recently that Lily Gladstone is actually going to be campaigning for Best Actor and not supporting actor. So
yeah, it happened between the last episode and this episode. It was like a couple days later.
Yeah, so that's definitely interesting. And also, I think when we did Best Actor, I think I did jokingly talk about Lily Gladstone potentially being Best Actor. So,
yeah, you did, Malcolm. I hate to give you credit, but you deserve the credit, Malcolm. You did say that. I'm glad. You know, I'm not going to take it away from you, buddy. You got it. You said it, and it happened. You put it out there, and guess what? It happened.
But Dan, what are your thoughts about Lily Gladstone sort of campaigning for Best Actor?
Look, I don't want to come across as too negative here. I'm on this because I'm on the Lily Gladstone bandwagon as far as Killers of the Flower Moon. I saw her in 2 movies earlier this summer, Fancy Dance and something else. I can't think of the other one I saw her in. But I just think she made a Michelle Williams mistake in this. And I think that if she would have stayed in Best Supporting Actress, she probably would have won. And I just don't understand where I want to be in Best Actress. You're in a movie with Jesse Plemons, Robert De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brendan Fraser, and you think you're the lead actress in that movie when all those guys are in that movie? Come on now, Lily. Have a little bit of common sense here. You should have stayed in Best Supporting Actress. More than likely, you would have been nominated and probably won. But they did. Now, I will say this. Martin Scorsese, I read the book, Killers of the Flower Moon. And it's from a different perspective than what the movie is going to be. The perspective of the Native American people is going to be the main way of how he's going to tell this story. So maybe she is the leading actress and she wanted us campaign as that instead of as supporting and get that Oscar like Christian Bale did in for The Fighter that year, where everybody's like, oh, he's leading. He should be in leading or whatever. I just think she's not a well-known actress. A lot of people haven't seen her movies that she had this summer that came out, Fancy Dance, and I can't think of the other one. I think you should be lucky that if you get nominated for Best Supporting and possibly win Supporting, you should be happy with that instead of trying to push yourself into the Best Actress category when you got some massive, massive stars that are going to be in that category, and it could push her out entirely. And I'm not saying it will push her out entirely because it didn't push Michelle Williams out. It ended up pushing out the girl from what was it?
Till
pushed
Daniel
her out.
Daniel
Deadwyler pushed her out of Best Supporting Actress. Best Actress, I mean, when she probably deserved to be in Best Actress more so than Michelle Williams did. So that's the kind of thing. Who are you going to push out, Lily Gladstone? Let's say she gets in. Who is she going to push out? Is she going to push out a Natalie Portman for May, December? Is she going to push out a who's in Nyad?
Annette Bening?
Annette Bening in Nyad. She could push her out. You don't know. But I think
maybe Sandra Hüller.
Sandra
Anatomy
Hüller
of Fall.
for Anatomy of a Fall. You're absolutely right, Lewis. So I think she's just overstepping her bounds here. And she should have just stuck with being in Supporting, getting the nomination, and a very good shot at winning. That's just my 2 cents. Even though I can't wait to see her in the movie. I'm like, this is like my most anticipated movie of the year, and I like her as an actress. I think she kind of overthinks things.
But Louis, what are your thoughts about Lily Gladstone moving to the Best Actress?
Well, it took me by surprise. Maybe it shouldn't have, because there were some people who were arguing that she had the potential to campaign for actress. To be fair, I have not seen the movie, and I have heard that she is more of a presence than, say, Michelle Williams was in Fabelmans, where that was clear category fraud. Michelle Williams should have been running for supporting actress, and she probably would have a better shot to win on top of that. And I was one of those who was locked in, believing that Lily Gladstone was going to walk away with the Oscar. Supporting actress is not just like it was last year. It seemed to be locked up, and now it looks like a wide open race again. I understand that there is history to be made here. If she does get nominated, I believe she would be the first ever Native American to be nominated for an actress Oscar. And maybe that's a narrative that can help her win. At the moment, a lot of people seem to think that Emma Stone is the one to beat in lead actress, and maybe the fact that Emma Stone has won before. And if the narrative gets behind with Lily and Killers ends up being a really top contender, if she can pull this off after, I mean, it'd be very interesting to see if she could pull this off, given that we thought for sure she was just going to walk her way into a supporting actress Oscar. I think she's probably going to get the nomination. I do think that she's probably bumped out either Sandra Hüller or Annette Bening, whoever was there fighting for that 5th spot for actress. I was able to get her at really good odds at Gold Derby because of this sudden change. I was able to get her at 100 to 1. So that should work out for me if she gets nominated like we think she probably will be. I think she may have really hurt her chances, though, to win. I'm not saying that it's not impossible for her to win actress. I think compared that with Michelle Williams, when Michelle Williams entered, everyone and their mom knew it was a epic battle between Michelle Yeoh and Kate Blanchett in actress last year. This time, I don't feel like it's that locked up. Where we know what the final 2 is going to be coming down to for actress. We think we might know who the front runner is or not, but we'll see. We don't know it quite yet. So maybe this could work out for Lily, but I think she had it really locked in and won if she had gone with supporting actress. And this may come back to haunt the movie's chances to win picture as well, because if they have supporting actress locked up, then all they had to do was win one of screenplay or director, and right there's your path to a potential picture win. So this might not just haunt her, but might even haunt the movie's chances to win it all. So I agree with Dan that I think she's hurt her chances. I don't want to say that it's 100% like Michelle Williams, because again, I think Michelle Williams, when that change happened, I think actress was obviously coming down to 2 women, where this time I think it's a little bit more competitive. At least at the moment, it looks more competitive. But I really think that they threw away a surefire Oscar here. And there is a world where it is possible that Killers of the Flower Moon ends up being like The Irishman or Wolf of Wall Street, where it gets a bunch of nominations, but it doesn't end up winning anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like I'm looking at this sort of kind of more positively here, but it's kind of one of those ones like obviously like whoever's in charge of deciding who gets like the full who campaigns for what, obviously whoever Lily talked to about wanting to campaign for best actor and not supporting actor, obviously they must have agreed, because they didn't have to honor her request. They really did, but the fact that they chose to did tells me that they think she's right, that she is more lead than supporting. And it's one of those ones like and I will always defend Michelle Williams in lead, because like, well, yes, like the story was more about the kid, but I will argue that like that Michelle Williams was still relatively important, like a kind of a co-lead as well, like so I mean, I will always say, I mean, I would have said the same thing for Paul Dano in the movie as well. Like, I think both of them could have been lead. So I mean, the one thing I'm thinking here is maybe whoever is in charge of deciding who gets in what area, maybe they think they've got a solid chance to maybe get a nomination in each of the 4 acting categories if they move Lily into lead race. So maybe they think that just picking out a name at random because it's the only female name that could potentially be out there. Maybe they think that the actress playing Lizzie Q, which is Molly's mother, is really good in the movie and could take her spot in supporting. So maybe they think there's a chance that they could get a nomination in each of those 4 categories.
Also,
So
Malcolm, I just want to make one point. The one year that Lakeith Stanfield, he campaigned in lead along with Daniel Kaluuya, and the Academy put him in supporting. So if the Academy deems her supporting, they can put her into supporting and say, this is your nomination, Lily Gladstone. So
I mean, I know there was like some people in the know who argued that that's what cost Katrina Balfe that there were apparently some voters who instead were trying to put her as a lead, and that ultimately is why she ended up having that big snub in supporting.
Oh man, that's
like the Academy. That is true. The Academy does not have the voters, if they want to, can go ahead and put her under supporting, even though they campaign her for lead. Now, that being said, I do think that if you see a situation where obviously all the other awards are obviously going to be putting her in a lead because they don't have the rules that the Academy do, where the acting branch is allowed to, do their own thing. That could help her really solidify herself.
Yeah.
But that is a possibility. That's a good point, Dan, that they could just, that we tune in on Oscar nomination morning. They usually open up with supporting actress, and all of a sudden her name shows up there instead of lead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and but yeah, and Jonathan Peck is going that he thinks potentially Margot Robbie could be bumped out if Lily gets in.
Absolutely.
He's definitely
absolutely.
one of the
Yeah, so I mean, so it's going to make the Oscar race a little bit more interesting now going forward. But that being said, we're going to move into our best supporting prediction. We're going to start off with best actress.
Best supporting actress. Yep.
Yeah. So,
you want me to go first, Malcolm, or do you want to go first? Or
well, I was getting yeah. So just in case you haven't watched the past few episodes, how are we doing our predictions? We're each going to go around sort of draft style and pick a actress we think is going to be nominated for best supporting. Obviously, once someone picks it, then it's off the table for the rest of us. So yeah. But then you can go first.
Well, going off of Miss Lily Gladstone jumping out of the Best Supporting Actor category, I think this is a slam dunk. I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I'm being told and what I've been gathering, Divine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers is probably the front runner here, and she's my pick. I can't wait to see The Holdovers. Next to right now, as of all the movies that we still have to see the rest of the year, Killers of the Flower Moon is my most anticipated movie of the year. But right behind that is The Holdovers, and from what I'm hearing, Divine Joy Randolph is fantastic. So she's my pick.
But Luis, who are you picking first?
If I remember correctly, I'm not allowed to pick a name that's already been said, right?
Yeah.
Because I would agree that she's might be the front runner. But that being said, I'm gonna go with Daniel Brooks from The Color Purple, because if that movie is as big as I believe that it could be, and granted, there's a lot of questions: will it be delayed? When are they finally going to screen this? I've been hearing a lot of good things about her. There's the behind the scenes talk about people who claim that this movie is good and could be a top awards contender. Her role, I believe, she won playing this character on stage. The character of Sophia, I believe, is the character that she plays, and there is a history when it comes to supporting actress that the musicals, when there's a musical in picture, and if The Color Purple does end up getting into Best Picture, it tends to be supporting actress where it comes away with an Oscar. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Daniel Brooks for The Color Purple.
Yeah, funny you should say that, Luis, because I'm going for a similar movie, different actress, which could both these people could be nominated. I'm going for Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple. Once again, this is depending on if it eventually comes out, which SAG are touring for MPT now, so that I think there is a good chance that the strike is official, like both strikes will officially be over really, really quickly. So there's a good chance the movie is going to still stick to its date. And yeah, so I think Taraji P. Henson could be nominated Like nothing against Danielle Brooks. I think if they go with someone, they may like depending on how good Danielle Brooks is, they may go for the recognizable name. I don't know. I don't think they always will always do it, but I think sometimes I'll try and get one or two unknowns into there that haven't been nominated before. But yeah, so
Well, I mean, not to kneecap my pick or anything like that, but I will say that I have been wondering because each year we see the situation we saw with Paul Dano Judd Hirsch getting picked over Paul Dano, Judy Dench getting picked over Katrina Balfe. There is a possibility that if only one of the Color Purple ladies gets in there, that it is Henson because she has been, if I remember right, she has been nominated before, and she's the veteran, so that is a possibility to keep an eye on.
Dan, what's your pick for maybe getting in?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a pickle here because I got a couple that I want to go for, but I think if this movie is as good as I think it's going to be, and the relationship between the two main actresses, one leading and one supporting, is as good as I think, and it's positioned as an early December release on Netflix, I think the leading actress is going to pull in the supporting actress, who both, I might add, both have already won Best Actress Oscars, and I think it's going to pull in Julianne Moore for May, December. I believe both of these women are going to get nominated, and I believe all tides lift ship. Look. And I believe if Natalie Portman gets in, I think Julianne Moore gets in. I think if Julianne Moore gets in, Natalie Portman will get in. And I think if this movie is as good as I think it is, and what I've been hearing out of Cannes, Netflix bought this thing and positioned it at the right time in early December. I think this could be a nomination for Julianne Moore for May, December. That's just I could be going out on a limb here, but I'm going to go for
it. But Luis, what is your pick for maybe getting in?
Well, I'm going to go with a movie that could potentially go a similar path, even though this movie, it hasn't been getting raves from critics, but I have heard it's a little bit more of a crowd pleaser. And we've seen this time and time again where sometimes the industry gets behind certain movies that critics are a little bit more, it's okay, but because it's a crowd pleaser, it hits with the industry more. If Nyad ends up becoming big enough that, say, Annette Bening is able to slide in there and get that actress nomination, I think there's a possibility that Jodie Foster could get into supporting because from what I hear in the movie, there's definitely a relationship between the two characters that will have you rooting for them. And I think that if Naya ends up being a pretty big hit with the industry, it's hard for me to see it getting into picture, but I can absolutely see a situation where the two actresses get in. And if Annette Bening does get in, then I think Jodie Foster can absolutely get in for supporting actress.
But yeah. So for my maybe getting in, I was going one or two ways here. I'm going to go for the one I'm probably more confident is probably going to get in just because of how good the movie is. But and this is one that I'm not 100% sure which actress they would go for this movie. But I'm going to stick with, I think Emily Blunt could sneak in for Oppenheimer. And it it's for me, it's either going to be Emily Blunt or Florence Pugh if one of them does get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. But I'm sticking with what I've sort of predicted on Gold Derby, unless I had to change it up. But I went with Emily Blunt Oppenheimer. I'm not 100% confident on it, but in my opinion, so I think the supporting actress is just a very wide open thing at the moment. I think it's just one of those ones that anything can happen in any given day. But Dan, what is on your outside looking in?
Well, this is the one that I was kind of bantering back and forth with Julianne Moore, and because I kind of, because this is the Gone with the Wind list. It's not my personal list. I can't so I think that, on the outside looking in, but I think as a legit shot at getting in is Viola Davis for Air. I think she is fantastic in that movie. She's been in small roles before, like Doubt and things like that, and have gotten Oscar nominations. She really has a great presence in the movie in a smaller role. And if there's a lot of love for Air, I think one of the things that's going to get is her. I think she could get in for best, and she's gotten a nomination and she's won before. So she's won an Oscar before for Fences. So I think Viola Davis for Air.
Just a quick side note, maybe they might want to forgive her for the whole Grassroots campaign, which knocked her out of Best Actress last year, arguably.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there were reports that supposedly a lot of industry voters didn't even bother to watch The Woman King. I have been hearing from pretty good source that Air is going to get a lot of screenings, so I think they're actually going to see this one.
But Luis, what is on your outside looking in?
I'm on my outside looking in. Let's see here. I'm looking at my at the Gold Derby board here because we're getting into like sort of definitely outside looking in for what I would think. I think I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna throw in here Vanessa Kirby for Napoleon because she has gotten a nomination before, and if this movie ends up surprising and becoming a little bit more of a thing with the industry, I can see a situation where let's say Joaquin is able to pull off an actor nomination. I can see her getting in there as well. And she plays Josephine, which anybody who studies Napoleon's life knows how important Josephine was to his life, and that tumultuous relationship that they had. So outside looking in, I can see Vanessa Kirby getting in, even though I'm not necessarily ready to put her in my 5 at the moment.
But yeah, for me, I'm in an interesting position now because like all the ones that I've predicted for my official 5 have all been picked by various people. So no, I'm going for my outside looking in. I'm just going on my heart, and this is going to be for big asterisks. It's going to be if it gets the screenings it needs to be eligible. I'm going with this. I'm going Minnie Driver for Up for because why not? She's good in the movie. But yeah, as I said, it's dependent on if it gets the screenings it needs. But it is what it is.
Now you get to go first this time, Malcolm, since you went last time. How about that?
Well, it was the way we did it last time, so I'll just put in the.
I gotta switch over to my switch my categories here.
Yeah, I'm doing exactly the same thing. But yeah, for my first sort of one that I'm going to go with is I'm going to go for Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Like once again, I haven't seen it. I'll probably watch it when it drops on Apple TV because I don't think it's getting a cinema screening over here. But yeah, and if it's as good as what it looks, then I don't see any reason why Robert De Niro won't get a supporting actor nomination. But yeah, so Louise, what do you think is like the locked for best supporting?
Well, Robert De Niro is a good pick because I think a lot of people seem to keep bringing up how he missed for The Irishman, but I think this is different because he's going to be playing a little bit of against type. If you watch the trailer, I mean, he's got an accent going and everything. It's not like Robert De Niro is going to get accused of just playing Robert De Niro because in Irishman he played a typical role. But I think that's a good choice. I would agree that's a lock for nomination. I'm going to tell you who's going to win the supporting actor Oscar right now. Because I've been on Twitter, I've been everywhere. I've been telling everyone this thing is already done. I am going to go all the way to the end, ride or die. Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer. I believe he's got the narrative. It's a top tier contender. If you're the Marvel fans of the voters are going to say this is our chance to give Iron Man an Oscar, the non-Marvel fans are going to be saying, "Oh, it's great to see Robert Downey Jr. doing serious movies again." I believe Robert Downey Jr. is a lock for a nomination, and in my opinion, it's the lock to go all the way and win. Maybe I'll end up having to eat a bunch of crow, but I truly believe that out of all of the acting Oscars, this probably is the one that is going to be the most locked in. I know it's early, but I'm telling you, I can completely see him ending up the Ke Huy Quan of this year. He has so much on his side in this campaign.
Funny enough, I predicted you were going to say that I had it completely written out before you even made your pick.
Same thing, Lewis. That was my pick. I know it's the most obvious pick of the whole thing. I was going to pick him if I went first, but I was like, nah, I don't want to go first again because I don't want to feel like I'm always going first. So I was like, Malcolm, you go first this time. And then he got to pick whatever he wanted. And he left Robert Downey Jr. sitting there nice, perfectly for you.
Well, I mean, like for me, it was tossing up between two, but like the way it stands on Gold Derby, I've got Robert De Niro just over Robert Downey at the moment, just because I think there is a narrative for De Niro potentially winning too, because he is getting up there in age, and who knows when he's going to get a chance to be nominated again. So it's like that's kind of why I went him over Downey, but it could go either way. To be honest, I wouldn't be happy either. But Dan, what is your pick for the lock?
I'll tell you what, man. I am in a difficult spot here. But I'm going to go with John Magaro. And he might not get in at all. This guy may not get in at all. But I believe he's done some good work this year in multiple movies. He's in the George Foreman movie, which a lot of people did not like that, but I think he's really good in Past Lives. And I think if Past Lives gets as much love as I hope it gets, and I want to see it get, I think John Magaro could sneak in there and get a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I think he's been doing really good work over the last few years, and I think this could be that time where he gets into an Oscar category. So I'm going to go with John Magaro for Past Lives.
But on to me for possibly getting in. And yeah, for my possibly getting in, I'm going to sort of go for Ryan Gosling from Barbie. Like in my opinion, I think he should be lead actor. But from what I'm hearing, and it's currently what it's on Gold Derby at the moment, they've got him in supporting. So that's why I'm going from here, because that's what Gold Derby had. But I think like Ryan Gosling has a good shot. I think he's really good in the movie, and if Barbie gets a lot of love, which I think it's probably going to, I think Ryan Gosling has a really good shot. But Luce, what's your pick for maybe getting in?
I'm gonna go with Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. I mean, if this movie is what some people seem to claim is, I know some people are already ready to think that that movie is the one to beat in picture. I don't quite agree, but it does seem like to be a potential top tier contender. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Ruffalo's performance. Apparently, it's a very fun comedic performance. So I think, and Ruffalo has been nominated before. So I think I'm going to go with Mark Ruffalo because if that movie is the contender that a lot of people seem to believe it is, I don't see why he wouldn't get in there.
And then Dan, what is your pick for maybe getting in?
Well, I'm going to go right in the same wheelhouse as Lewis here because I think, I mean, if there's a couple scenarios where multiple people from the same movie are going to get into various categories. I think best supporting actor, you could possibly have two people from the same movie. And that is Willem Dafoe from Poor Things, as well as Mark Ruffalo from Poor Things. And we all remember Willem Dafoe getting robbed of a nomination in the year that he should have possibly won, and that was for the Florida Project. He's been kind of knocked around over his career, and he just keeps giving great performance after great performance. So I'm going to go with Willem Dafoe in Poor Things, and he's wearing like makeup and a prosthetic on his face and stuff. So maybe that'll lend himself to getting some love. You don't know.
But that was that outside looking. So now we're on to those are maybe again. Now we're on to our outside looking ins. And for me, I'm just going to go for the other last name I've got that hasn't actually come up yet, which honestly surprised me a little bit. But this is a guy who could potentially be nominated in both Best Actor and supporting for two different movies, because I believe this guy is also in Rust and it's Coleman Domingo for The Color Purple. It's just one of those ones like there's not much I haven't seen the movie yet. No one really has. But I think if Color Purple is going to get a lot of love as what some people think it's going to, especially for just to get some more a more diverse lineup in these races, then I think it's the one that is probably going to get that love. So I think Coleman Domingo's got a good shot getting into Best Supporting Actor. Luis, what is your pick for outside looking in?
Well, I'm thinking about a scenario that Dan was talking about in terms of May, December, kind of ending up getting a lot of love in terms of the acting. And if that's true, then I can see Charles Melton getting in for supporting actor for May, December. It's interesting because I didn't really hear that many raves for him coming out of Cannes, but they did recently show the movie at New York Film Festival, and I saw a lot of raves in comparison for folks coming out of that screening. And I think if that movie does end up getting actress and supporting actress, there is a world where he ends up being able to sneak in there as the fifth slot. So I'm going to go with Melton for my pick here.
And Dan, who's your pick for outside looking in?
All right, what's his name again? Charles Milton?
Charles Melton. Yeah.
Charles Melton?
Yes.
Okay, Charles
Melton. It's in the private chat anyway. I've just put it there.
Oh, you did? Okay. I'm sorry, because I want to make sure that I put it in our chat so we can revisit this down the road. I'm going to do a Malcolm on this one. I'm going to go with something fun and what the hell? You never know. Something weird could happen. It'd be wild, and I think we all be like, we're having a blast. And you want to talk about somebody doing the talk show circuit, the interview circuit. If he gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor for playing an Oompa Loompa, Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompas. I would freaking love that. That would be so funny. Especially, what if he has a really good role, like opposite Timothy Chalamet? And he really has like a devil on his shoulder, kind of, or a angel on his shoulder type of thing, where he has like empathy and he gives him good advice and stuff like that. What if he actually has a decent role, and yet he's playing an Oompa Loompa? I mean,
Let's not forget I was sorry to cut you off there, but I was just gonna say, let's not forget that he did get a BAFTA nomination for Paddington 2.
That's right, playing the villain, right? Playing the villain, right?
Yep.
So I'm just gonna go off on what Malcolm did, and I'll say Hugh Grant as Oompa Loompa, or whatever the name of the Oompa Loompa is.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, had someone taken Common Domingo earlier, I probably would. I probably would have gone for Rhys Darby from Up Forward as well. So, Jonathan Peck did say that Charles Melton is Reggie from Riverdale. I thought I recognised him from somewhere. Also Michael Rossi kind of said like in his opinion he thinks Nero, Downey, and Gosling are locked in, then that Ruffalo's looking strong, then the fifth slot is up for grabs. And he also sort of brought up Melton and Defoe. I don't know who Cessa is.
Holdovers. He plays the kid in the Holdovers.
Yeah, I was gonna say the kid from the Holdovers. I was debating whether I was gonna go with him or just go for the funny one like Malcolm did, and go for Hugh Grant. You guys would die if Hugh Grant gets in for playing the Oompa Loompa.
I think he would be. I think he would be like Jamie Lee Curtis and be an incredible asset to himself in the campaign trail if that happened.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, look, honestly, anything is possible, and it's one of those ones that like, even though like, with Hugh Grant, like he could be really good in Wonka, like. We don't know, like we won't truly know until we see the movie, but it's just one of those ones like every now and then there's always someone that sneaks in. It's like, really, that actor from that movie got in. So Hugh Grant could be that person.
I mean, it is the supporting category, so we typically see these kind of like fun genre film nominations. Melissa McCarthy got in for Bridesmaids, and
he actually was nominated that year as well for Bridesmaids, for playing that kind of a shady buddy of hers in Brides, and no, not Brides, in what's the other one? Melissa McCarthy.
Can You Ever Forgive Me?
Can You Ever Forgive Me? So Hugh Grant's. Oh,
that was Richard. That was Richard.
Brain is freaking frying right here. No, it's Richard. That's Richard Grant. This is Hugh Grant. I'm Hugh Grant, Richard Grant. I'm an idiot. Yeah, but no, I mean, I just wanted to go with the funny thing, just in case. You just never know. And for all we know, Wonka could get pushed till next year, and then there goes that.
But there's also the possibility if Color Purple does end up getting pushed, and that could give WB room to try to do something with Wonka.
Yeah, because I mean they already have Aquaman, right? And if
I don't think they're going to be pushing that for any awards, though.
No. But I mean, say they're going to be getting in the way of each other, all coming out within 3 weeks of each other.
Well, that goes back to the conversation we had last week, where I'm telling you, I there's something about that doesn't sit right with me. At least one of those movies I feel is going to get moved.
I mean, I would move Aquaman if I was them.
Well, I mean, look, I think it's a case of Warner Brothers just doesn't care about Aquaman enough to move it.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I mean, look.
Plus, it moved from last year to this year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't it already move?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I really am intending this pun, but Aquaman 2 is dead in the water as far as I can. It's probably going to be a movie people are going to go see. I'm probably going to go see it at the cinemas if I've got the chance, if I find time. But it's just one that, with the way the DC movies are going, like it's the last remaining thing from the former DCEU before DCU sort of goes in the completely gets rebooted. So so I think it's just a case at this point. I think Warner Bros. Is going to get Aquaman 2 out, and then they can sort of wash their hands of it. And yeah, I think if anything moves, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be a case of something gets moved to next year. They might move one of them maybe back if they feel it's ready enough. Maybe back a little bit earlier if possible, just to give a little bit of distance between maybe Color Purple and Wonka. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like I think at this point they might just keep them there just to keep both of them in contention for awards. Because I think at this point they're not too like with those moves. I don't know how worried they are about them making or losing money, but I think especially with the fact they had to push Dune out, I think they want to try and keep as much as they can for this year's awards race if possible. Because I don't, outside of Wonka and Color Purple, I don't, and Barbie, I can't think of anything else that WB have this year that is potentially going to be nominated for anything. So I think they're going to want to keep Wonka and Color Purple where they are.
Hope
So
so.
if any-
I'm hoping. I'm crossing my fingers they stay because I want to see them for greedy reasons. I want to see both of these films, and I think we need The Color Purple in the Oscar race. I believe it's a movie that needs to be in this race. I think we're starting to get to where it's starting to get slim pickings. Look, I mean, we can't even get to 9 picks without me making a joke pick of Hugh Grant as Oompa Loompa, without in possible nominating categories. That being said, Malcolm, Sterling K. Brown, America. Well, I haven't seen American Fiction. I don't know anything about it. But
I mean, I could see that, but only if American Fiction ends up hitting with the industry the way it did at TIFF, which at the moment is a big question mark because that was a surprise winner.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree there with Liz. But I think what do you guys want to do? Do the song categories, the score and best song, or do you want to do production value and cinematography next year? Because they did upgrade cinematography and production design on Gold Derby. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but they also got animated feature on Gold Derby as well.
Yeah, well, we've already sort of done animated feature.
Yeah, when we talked to the animated guys. So,
yeah,
we're
so
still kind of.
I mean, honestly, I think maybe production design and costume design next time, and then we can lump film editing and cinematography together.
I was thinking costume design and makeup and hairstyling would go better together, but
well, I mean, I don't think makeup's there yet.
No, I know that, Malcolm. I'm just saying in general.
I mean, honestly, we don't necessarily need to do 2. We could just do cinematography if you want.
I mean, that's fine. You don't know what kind of news is going to drop between now and next week.
Exactly. Because I mean, like, when it comes to best song, I prefer to wait to do that until once the shortlist are out because there's been so many songs and so many different movies. And I think we've already talked about what we hope gets nominated for them when we talk about each movie. So I think I think that's something to just wait till the shortlist are out because then that way we've got like a 20 movie selection of what.
Yeah, that probably is a good idea. That's actually a decent idea to take some of the what do you call it and just do the wait till the short list. Maybe we could do a whole episode of we take 3 or 4 of the short list categories and kind of break them down or something like that, so we're gonna have some dead weeks between December and January anyway, probably, where we could start breaking down some of these other categories. That'd be a good idea. But we'll discuss that when the time comes. I guess it's time to hit the road, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Short episode this week.
Dan, we can be upon you online.
Yeah, you can find me right there. My name, Dan Skip Allen, on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Threads now as well as Lewis. Instagram. I'm on X, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on there. Also Letterbox from the Fourth Row or DP Skipbound or whatever. Those are my. I have like 2 or 3 different names on social media. I should just get it all narrowed down to the same name. And then also I'm a film critic in Orlando, Florida. I write for 2 websites, obviously one right there, from the fourthrow.com and disappointmentmedia.com. Also, I've been on a few of the episodes with the Movie Hero Network. This past Friday, we did Best Westerns, a whole bracket breakdown, elimination style, where we get the best Western. I've done all kinds of different ones over there at the Movie Hero Network. Also, I've been on the Dill Pickle Network as well, and I've done their show called Picture This, where we have revisionist history with the Academy Awards. And I did all 3 of the Godfather years, 72, 74, and 90, also in 1980. I'm sure I'll be back on there eventually. Also, on my website, I'm doing a special celebration of my life called My Life, My Love, 50 Years in Film, where I'm picking my favorite film from each year. Some years I pick 2 films, and I go from my birth year always to my 50th year of existence, which is this year. And I write reviews of every movie on my website, and I do it in 10-year increments. And then I also do a companion video where I get some friends and we discuss, because it would be fun for me just to talk about my favorite movie each year. So I get some buddies and we compare their favorite movies from those years and each episode. And then on Letterboxd, I rank I put them all on a list, and I put the reviews of each movie in the list. So if you want to just go to Letterboxd and you want to go look at that list, My Life, My Love, 50 Years in Film, you can just go to there. But yeah, you can find me every week here also on Gone with the Wind. We're going to be going every week from now on until we pick some winners.
And Luis, where can people find you online?
Just go to the mendesmoviereport.com, and it'll take you straight to my Substack newsletter, which is 100% free. I know there's some people make you pay for their Substacks, but not me. And if you need to find me elsewhere online, Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, Threads, or Letterboxd, just look for Mendes Movie RPT, and that's where you can find me.
And you can find me on Tape for Productions, where I host Rankum every Sunday night. Next week we'll be a little bit earlier. We'll be Rankum will be at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be doing a ranking of the Saw movies in honor of Saw X that just came out. And you can also find me on the Movie Hero Network in a little bit, actually, because this week we're doing the tournament fights for the latter series, and we're doing 2007 movies. So there's a lot of good movies in there. There's a few shit movies, and it's going to be interesting to see what can sort of come out there. And we've got these 8 holdovers that moved on from the previous years in here, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And you can also see me over on Full Metal Singles, where I host trivia most time. This week we have a match. I can't remember which one it is. It'll be whatever the next one is on my list of movies to release. But yeah, for all of us here, just watch more movies, and may the odds be ever in your favor.
And thanks to you, that's over now, and you've ruined